It always comes back to conspiracy theorists, so I never realize that it's April 1st when somebody sends me the wildest shit. And I just hook, line, and sinker every fucking time. Dude.
And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, it's so funny to you that I trust you and believe that.
Yeah, exactly. And it pisses me off. Like, why are you gonna tell me that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, my favorite band is gonna tour again.
I'm a fucking idiot.
Pussy, trust me.
Yeah, like I'm a fucking idiot, I guess. Welcome back to show.
Welcome back, indeed. You can't just straight face a welcome.
Because it ties reactions every time.
Stop looking him in the eye when you do it.
I didn't even try to look away. Pull it back. I'm like, I'll look over here and just. What?
Doing a longer and longer build up too. Welcome back to Show Me Yours podcast. With Jackie and Johnny. Jackie
and aside from and I unfortunately am Johnny DeVito. Welcome.
And I'm Ty Boissonneau.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah.
You're goddamn right.
And thanks for flipping on your newscaster to us.
Absolutely.
As per usual, hit that like, comment, subscribe, 5 stars, give us a review. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and hey, we're going on tour.
Oh, yeah, we are, baby. Oh, yeah. Now, instead of just on the internet, you can follow us in the streets.
Yeah.
In them streets.
In them streets.
Like a young Michael Myers, you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, or old.
Yeah.
We don't discriminate.
Stalk us from the tree line, you know what I mean? Like a werewolf. That's great.
Yeah. Ooh.
That'd be cool. Or just come and see a show. High fives.
Yeah, we're going to be in Victoria, Kelowna, Kamloops, Calgary, Edmonton.
Very exciting.
So the link to all of that is going to be in the description right below. And hey, we got some we got some shows in Vancouver too.
Yeah, we do.
We got Crossbones Comedy at
Burnaby.
Admiral.
I
say that everybody. The Admiral.
It's quite admirable. Yeah. Is it decent? No, but it's admirable.
Perfect description for the bar.
That's great.
Every other Monday. I'm not sure. Actually, this no. I don't know when this episode's coming out.
Okay.
So just link. That link's gonna be below too.
Absolutely. We got we got all the links, right? I got a link tree. Have you guys link treed up yet?
I'm link treed up.
You got
I've not treated.
Come on.
I'm not treed.
You're not treed?
No.
Yeah, you got a lot of links, man. You could
Yeah,
you would really
You got a
benefit
lot of
from
links.
this.
You got a lot of links. You should put them.
We
in
have
that
the comedyring.card.
There we go.
So that's got like everything. That'll bring you all the Eventbrites and all that stuff. Coming off of a real hot roast battle the other evening with new men's heavyweight champion Johnny DeVito. Oh man, what a fun night that was.
Yeah.
So good. So I'm stoked because the husband and wife champion are going on tour.
Fuck yeah.
And I get to be there being like a creepy Paul Bear the entire
Yeah, we're gonna
you
need
couldn't
to
pick a better hype, man. That's
yeah.
fantastic. It's gonna be really fun. And honestly, like to speak with the roast battle thing, it's a long way to the top. You know what I mean? Jackie, definitely a little bit more winning battler than myself, and I feel like I've had a lot of ups and downs. And there was a time, maybe just a few months ago, where I didn't even want to continue battling after underestimation.
It's literally like UFC shit though. It's like because I'm like we were talking about it in the car afterwards. I'm like, man, think about how Johnny's adapted his game. I'm like, it's literally like you like got like you came in as like a kickboxer, like a storyteller kind of vibe, and you're like, I gotta fucking show, I gotta learn this ground game.
Definitely, man, definitely. Dude.
And you did, and it's so sick.
Where like if you can see like if you could just stay consistent or whatever and kind of have that like boxing technique where like a guy can't really answer back and all he's just gonna eat jabs all night. It's just all you want to do is just make it a fucking long
Just
night
pepper
for
him
him.
coming down
Yeah,
the middle of the
absolutely.
night. He's just like Rocky over there.
Totally, man.
The
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
peppering of the jab.
And I'm not gonna lie, every win feels great, but honestly, I was looking at like a few of the competition there. The ones that give a shit are good, right? So I don't, I'm definitely gonna, have my work cut out for me with any, any opponent I think that they're gonna bring to me. So we'll see if the rain can hold. But I ain't doing shit until we get off a tour. So I will tour as a champion.
Yeah. Honestly, I
God, yeah.
feel like every roast, you can see the people who have been doing it consistently. You can see everyone improving.
Oh
each
man,
roast.
yeah,
crazy
it's
to
wild.
watch.
It's like
Oh,
it is getting just better and better and better.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
We're really
amazing,
building the federation. That was number 7, so it's like it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like since we've kind of been back doing it, so
Definitely. Like, we all know like guys like Jacobson or Wild or whatever, but like a young Bradley Fung is not gonna be. He's gonna be.
Oh man,
Oh,
Bradley
man,
Funk
killer.
killed it, dude. That guy's a
Killer.
serial killer,
Totally.
like
Yeah,
up there, man.
so
Yeah, it's
good.
so good.
I'm looking forward to whoever you guys throw at me.
Yeah. I have a suspicion of who I might be facing next. And,
Okay.
Exciting. Okay.
and I look forward to it.
Oh,
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. We're gonna
I'm
cut the
thinking
funniest
of the only
promos.
other girl who does roast battles who I haven't battled.
Oh, fair enough. We're gonna have to start. And you know what? I'm actually really looking forward to getting on the road and then kind of establishing, like a little bit of a community out there, right? Because we know that there's some really popular roasts that are kind of happening in Calgary, I believe, and stuff like that. So it might be cool.
Yeah.
to kind of come in touch or whatever, and then.
We've talked about
And
that.
then
Like we
make
want to get
some
in touch with
picture-
those cats too.
you know
Just
what
like
I
just
mean?
doing
Let's-
the province
Sick.
battle is
Exactly.
great
Oh,
too.
that would be
Yeah.
Very
so
good.
sick.
We
Yeah.
do a lot of kind of roast and performing. You know what I mean? It's a small community, right? So we definitely hang out with a lot of the same people and stuff. It might be cool to, it's gonna be cool to see it grow, right? Which is awesome.
And it already like has been watching it grow.
Oh,
like
totally.
yeah. So much fun. Yeah. So come on out to the roast
Hell
battles.
yeah.
If you haven't
Hell
seen
yeah.
one yet, you're missing out. They're always a fucking bloodbath.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Fucking
In the most
okay.
lovely way too, right?
Can
Like,
we
I
take
mean-
a minute though to acknowledge what the fuck that train wreck of a battle between Peter and Akeem was? I
For the
mean, it's
listener,
offensive
I
to
got
the
like
craft.
Jackie will be like, we should not Peter Grant for a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. Why not?
I mean,
It's offensive to the craft, because like they went out of their way to not do what they're supposed to do, and then they were getting mad at each other for both fucking it up when neither of them did what they were supposed to fucking do. If you don't want to do a roast, don't do a fucking roast.
Totally.
Don't let us force us to sit through that bullshit.
yeah, if you're too cool for school
And the lioness is upset about how it went down, ladies and gentlemen. I have not shook it from the other evening. It continues on with me for several days after. I messaged Tim Williams, who was a great judge, by the way.
Oh my
so
God.
good.
Tim's
Oh
one of
my
the funniest
God.
dudes.
I
man.
messaged
Man.
him on the Friday. It was on Thursday. I mentioned it the next morning. And a happy Friday to you, Mr. Tim Southern Dandy
Oh my
Williams. Yeah.
God, he is so fucking funny. We should have him on the pod.
Oh
Actually.
hell yeah!
Cool.
But
If
when
if he doesn't pick Skinner, I don't know.
Yeah,
Why
right.
would he bother?
Yeah, man. Or would it be like a Whalen or something like that?
Yeah.
Something
Oh, that'd be
so
good too.
good. But he walked into Levels, and we were kind of sitting on the side there, and I'm waving at him, and he kind of does one of these, and he comes over. He's like, "Oh, thank God!" Like, I walked in, and I thought the door girl was you, and I was like, "Hey, Jackie!" And then she was like, "Who the fuck is Jackie?" And so now I didn't want to say hi to anyone because it's so dark in here. Yeah.
Just true to form, the nicest, funniest dude of all
Yeah, and he
time.
was
So
like,
funny.
Yeah, he was like, we were saying how much we were looking forward to seeing him being mean. He was like, it's gonna come across a little forced. He's like, hey, you faggot.
You know what I mean? For a guy like Justin Nicol, just rolls off like water off a duck's
Yeah.
ass, right? But I think Tim had to really kind of dig down.
I have the
to,
best
think-
picture of the
yeah.
judges table where it's
Justin
Yeah.
just has had his head down, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's so funny, man.
Oh my God. I think if Tim, for roast, if he just leans into that southern drawl, it makes it a lot more believable.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh my God.
I mean,
he's so
if
funny.
if
though.
I could
Yeah.
request anybody just to see what that guy would say about me, I would love to just be on
his
stage
battle
him.
with
It would be so
Darcy,
funny.
he was pretty fucking
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, yeah, it was a great
battle.
Yeah, yeah.
But and also too, like, you know what I mean, somebody that you respect, you respect the work ethic and somebody that writes jokes. Because going back to that thing, if you're gonna show up to a battle that's been hyped up for about 2 weeks, and you come with a too cool for school attitude, like I just wrote these jokes yesterday kind of thing.
It's not going to go well.
Fuck that.
No, it's not going to go well, right? Me and Jackie were having a lovely week away. We went to Kamloops. We went to Seattle.
This is my favorite thing is you guys have literally basically done where we're
Yeah.
going several times over.
Yeah, I was saying that on our drive. I was like, wow, we're doing this drive because we went out to Kamloops for his cousin's cabin. Then we went out to Sun Peaks. It's like, we're doing this drive fucking 3 times this summer.
That's
crazy.
I just been locked in the city.
You know what I mean?
I have more to go.
Oh man! So I did there's this thing about cars, Ty. You might not know this.
I don't.
But
What, did you get kicked in the face on them?
You could in this one.
where you can reset the trip, so it tracks how many kilometers you've driven. So I
the
reset it.
odometer.
Yeah, before
Or tripometer?
before we left on Friday, and when we got back on Thursday, we had almost driven 1,300 kilometers in 6 days.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, we were exhausted coming
Yeah.
into that roast battle. But oh my god,
Yeah,
there's no other show, any other show we would have canceled.
Yeah.
But the roast,
100%.
yeah, so much fun.
That's
so
just
worth
yeah.
it.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's a remarkable thing because like that's why you know what I mean. Like the love between the two of us goes deep, right? And I think you could really see like where it shares with with the love of the craft as well, because we couldn't even enjoy our nice afternoon in Seattle because we had to find a picnic bench and we had to sit down and write horrific jokes about how. The
funniest part is
like vitiligo and fucking
is-
how Ravi's fat. Like that's just.
Yeah.
what
And
we sat
Ravi
down and
drove
focused on.
down to meet you guys. You were at
Yeah.
the, what was it again, Jackie? What were you guys in Seattle
we
for? I
went
can't
to
remember.
This little thing, just a little like gathering of people.
new
to
band,
see
right?
it. Yeah,
There's a
this
new band?
You might have heard of them. They're called the Red Hot Fucking Chili Peppers. John motherfucking Frusciante.
I got complaint,
Oh
man.
my
Jesus
god!
Christ.
It's insane, right?
It's a lot of
Yeah.
noise coming from those 3 dudes, man.
Yeah,
Like,
dude,
they're
it's
making-
crazy
it was,
how tight it is.
Yeah.
Oh my
And just
god,
hit after hit.
man.
Too. By the end of it, I'm like, well, no, by the way.
Yeah.
Or,
yeah,
what I mean?
it's
Or
wild.
No under the
They
bridge,
did.
right?
They did. By the
Oh,
way,
sorry, yeah,
they.
yeah, they did no Under
But
the
yeah,
Bridge.
that's what I was saying.
But
Johnny
they had
afterwards,
so
there was
many
like they
hits.
didn't do. Yeah, they didn't do Under the Bridge. They didn't do Scar Tissue. And I was like, well, it's because they have so many fucking hits.
Yeah, it's like,
you
yeah,
can't
what do you
hit
do?
them all. You can't fit them
play a
all
4
into
hour
one.
show
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, so we're looking
But,
forward to the next
um,
album and hopefully the next leg
oh
of
my
the tour or
God.
whatever. Cause
I
it's a
heard
great
that
show.
Eddie Vedder was there.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
man, it
Yeah.
was so crazy.
Do
So
you get the
we,
feeling that the Strokes are dicks?
yeah,
The
well,
Strokes
that's
are on stage and they're just
yeah.
too cool for
Well,
school,
and
right?
that's
That's what I
why.
thought when I saw them.
Totally.
That's why. Shout out to Alex who did our
Oh
our
my God,
t-shirts.
Montreal
my,
Imprint. Check this dude out.
Yeah, my cousin's
put a link.
husband there. Great guy. Johnny had never met him before, and we've been saying for a while, we're like, fuck, whenever you meet Alex, you guys are going to hit it off. Sure enough, within 5 seconds of us walking in the door, they were out
Well,
having
dude,
a
you
smoke
love a
in the
mashup
backyard.
T-shirt, right? So I'm wearing the
Yeah.
Bart Simpson mashup
Yeah.
T-shirt, and Bart
Mm.
Simpson has like
Yeah.
black flag tattoos and a Cro-Mag shirt on, and he just looks at it and he's like, "I love Sick of It All. I was like, I grew up in New York, and I was at the Cro-Mags in like '94 and stuff like that." He's like,
Mm-hmm.
he grew up as a hardcore kid. He's seen all these
Oh,
bands.
so you guys are
Yeah.
making
And
out
then
in the
he
parking
has
lot.
like,
Oh, yeah.
and
And
he pulls
he
out a
said-
cigarette
I
tie,
was
and he's a
gonna
heavy
say,
smoker.
he's a heavy
we
smoker,
fucking crack
yeah.
beers and crank
Yeah.
tunes all fucking
We were
weekend on the
back there
deck.
for
man. It was
hours at a
fantastic.
time. I think he spent more time with Alex than he did with me while we were in.
I had a special
Yeah.
weekend. I had a very special weekend with a new friend.
But he was
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Dudes rock, man.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he was the original bass player. I don't think they were called the Strokes at the time. I think they had a name change,
Yeah.
but he was in that band. He was the bass player, and part of the reason he left was because those guys are douchebags.
Yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of the. That,
He said they
definitely
were
the vibe.
doing that thing. Like, I mean, I don't know if I should be blasting this on, but whatever. No one's really gonna see this, but
Treat it like a job, Jax.
but apparently they were like those assholes that would trash hotel rooms and like throw bottles onto the street and all of that
yeah.
shit.
just want to be New York rock and roll
Yeah.
or whatever, right? And I mean, it's
Yeah.
funny because when
Yeah.
you're getting it from the guy that was telling us the story, he's like the nicest dude, so you could just tell he's just like, I'm not about that.
I always thought they
Yeah.
dressed like the Clean Ramones.
Right?
Totally, yeah,
Yeah.
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 I felt kind of bad because like I always get them like I think
They got some fire jams though.
Oh,
like, they,
definitely.
So
like,
good, yeah.
definitely.
They closed
The
their
guitar
set
player's
with last
really good.
night,
Yeah.
which was
Very
great.
interesting way of playing guitar.
Yeah, it was. They
Kinda
put on a
nipple
great.
ride, the ding,
yeah,
ding, ding, ding.
yeah.
You know,
They had a great. They
yeah.
had a great set, and it was wild because before we went to the concert, we had dinner. And my dad was talking about how he really wants to see Pearl Jam because he was just at the EMP, which is now the MPOP, Museum of Pop Culture. Used to be Experience Music Project, but he was at that earlier in the day with his girlfriend, and they had an exhibit on Pearl Jam. And so at dinner before the concert, he was talking about how badly he wants to see Pearl Jam, and they were looking up tickets because they're currently on tour, and it was like $4,100 for one ticket.
Very expensive, like
extremely
and
expensive.
you're looking at a man that like you know what I mean, he just kind of took the family out and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking I'm looking at him in the eyes, and he's considering this.
Yeah. So we're talking
That's
about
a
it.
shitload of money. Dude.
Yeah, literally talking about it at dinner, talking about it as we're walking into the concert. And when we get there, pretty soon after the Strokes start their set, and they bring out fucking Eddie Vedder for a song, and my dad was out of his seat, like screaming. He was like, "It's Eddie Vedder! It's Eddie Vedder!" And I was like, yeah.
It's for everyone.
Yeah.
It's like a Jurassic Park scene.
Yeah.
Like,
It was crazy, yeah. And fucking Ravi texting like, "How much is BDT freaking out right now?"
yeah. And BDT, the greatest abbreviation for Big Dick Tim. That you know what I mean. Like he loves the nicknames so much. He just asked. We were talking about Ravi. He's like, "Oh, is that the guy that thinks I got a big dick?"
No, we're talking Marito.
It's awesome. He loves it.
Marito.
Oh, Marito,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah. But Ravi ran with it for sure.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes you gotta take the ball and go.
But oh my god, what a fucking good concert! Open at fucking
Yeah,
John
wonderful
walks
week
on
for
stage, opens up the show. People went insane.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
they gave so many solos. Him and Flea had so many jams,
jams.
and every
Those
single
jams.
time people fucking lost their
And they
shit.
did me and my friends.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
yeah, you
was
fucking called
I
it.
knew they
That
were
was
gonna-
stupid.
You
yeah.
fucking called it.
Yeah,
As soon as
right.
they started, I looked at Johnny. I was like, "Fucking Ty called it."
I wouldn't have known the song off the thing, but like watching Jackie's response to it, I was like,
as
"Damn."
soon as the first
Yeah.
fucking bass,
that song fucking
That did kick a lot of ass.
So good.
I got
yeah.
I paid for 2 beers and they gave me 3, and Ravi had given me an
Win.
edible. So at that
Yeah.
point, I was like, "This."
I
is
heard
the
you had
greatest
a
moment.
perfect amount though.
It was insane, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was really nervous about it. Because he goes, "It's like 15 milligrams," and I look at it, and it's like a gummy that's pretty big. That's like been bitten in half. I'm like, he doesn't fucking know how much is in this thing.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, I was just going for it, and in like in all music snobbery or whatever, or like anybody that's like a really big fan, in the back of your head, you're kind of waiting for something to fuck up, or you know, you're waiting for this to be like you know, just in the back of your head to be like, "Oh, okay, no, I'm right." And
Yeah.
I think I've been to like so many concerts, and a lot of the times, like I don't. Like the friends that I do have don't necessarily share the same love, especially for a lot of the like specific bands, right? So I've traveled a lot alone to go to a lot of these shows, right? And made a lot of friends and had a lot of like really cool experiences and all that stuff. But watching this fucking thing, music is about sharing it with somebody and sharing that experience with somebody that you love. And watching fucking Jackie wipe the fucking tears out of her eyes and just
a
really
lot of tears.
Yeah.
I was
started
having fun,
pretty.
like-
as soon, I mean,
Yeah. I was
when
really
John's
I
the
grabbed
first
her
one
boobs
that
and then
walks
kissed
on
her.
stage,
Wow.
you
I was
know,
doing
it
it.
was immediate waterworks.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
so I was here, but I was so happy for you too. I was just like, oh, I know, like that's just fucking.
It was
Yeah,
fucking cool.
and
man.
the fucking venue, we saw it at T-Mobile Park, and so they had the roof open.
Yeah.
And it's right under like a.
I didn't know they changed the name of that. I was like, Safe Cone. Ravi's like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in this fucking
Yeah.
early
and
2000s.
Oh yeah, weird.
But it's right under like an air highway or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
so there were planes and helicopters flying over top the whole time too.
And
So
just like
cool.
a great breeze
So
coming from
fucking
the
cool.
back. So like, there was
Yeah.
never like a moment like it was a hot day or whatever. So you're thinking that you're gonna be uncomfortable. But the way they kind of have that thing like figured out, I've never seen like a major league ball game. So like when we left, there is a packed house plus everybody that's on the field, right? So like I mean much more, and we fucking spilled out of there like pretty quickly. It's
We got out of there really quick. Yeah,
wild,
yeah.
for sure.
So
But
good.
and nobody gave me shit about smoking cigarettes. God bless America. It was a great show.
Yeah. So good.
Nice.
Ugh. And yeah, very much looking forward to their next album in October. And
Crazy.
Yeah,
Another
so
double
insane.
album.
Another double album
Insane.
in the same year. And I suspect that hopefully this is why for this tour they only had one Canadian city, which I thought was very weird. And I was like, they got to be announcing another leg soon. And then they announced this new album. So I'm hoping that's when they're going to kind of come through Canada, you know?
Oh yeah.
Because it would be so fucking cool to see them again, like
Yeah.
within 1 year. Yeah.
It would be worth
Yeah.
it. There's nothing about that fucking.
There's
show
I would
wanna
spend
see
any
again,
amount of money.
for sure.
So I didn't hit the merch tables there because the lines were too insane.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be just a buzzkill.
However, I did receive a text last night.
Yeah, so I hit the merch store online last night.
Mm.
I restrained myself. I only got 2 things. I got a long sleeve and a crew neck.
Nice.
Ran with shipping, ran me like $270.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. It's really the shipping that kind of knocks it
Yeah,
out.
the shipping
of
is
the park
fucking-
there.
You know what I mean? If
But
any
I'm
listener
very
wants
excited
to
for it,
like
yeah.
save money on Red Hot Chili Peppers merch, they can buy Show Me Yours merch instead.
There you
Link
go.
in the bio.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, we got some T-shirts.
Yeah,
for
shameless
sale.
self-promotion.
Some t-shirts, some stickers,
Yeah.
some super cool show posters too.
Yeah.
We got these like LP style, the Star Childs is what we're calling them.
Yeah.
We'll put all that shit up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do. We have an album today. We have a couple stories we want to touch on
Yeah, we
briefly
do, yeah, we do.
before. I'd say let's start with Alex Jones because that one's gonna get me heated, and then we'll end on the.
The other one is going to be kind of insignificant, I feel like, after that. But
it's gonna be
fair
a
enough.
lighter note.
Yeah.
So
So Alex Jones is a piece of shit.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that he was going through this. I had no idea
yeah.
about the trial or like anything. And then, because it's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
why wouldn't I know? I feel like I find out when someone shit in Johnny Depp's bed
Right.
Totally.
for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So how come I don't know about
like
this?
$50 million defamation lawsuit against somebody
Yeah.
that's like, you know, we're going
And he's got to pay it. It's insanity.
nuts,
It's
I was like,
so
wow,
good.
he got,
Yeah.
he's.
I love it.
I
so
wasn't
he's
aware about
done.
any of this until the other night.
Do you know how much money it is? That's like, that's a quarter of a Joe Rogan Spotify.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
fucking contract.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm
you
sure
know-
he will be
I was
asking
just
about
wa-
it.
yeah, but
You
I was
know,
watching. He made $60 million selling like tactical gear and shit on Infowars. Like he makes a shitload of money
Yeah,
on that
yeah.
thing, and he
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Getting kicked off of social media didn't really lose
he
him
has
any
such
money
a huge
because he has such
following
a yeah,
already.
because his
Yeah,
following is
yeah.
so huge, right? So fucking he has 2 more. The jury's going to deliberate on 2 more things too, so this could potentially go much higher than 50 million.
It's
as
so
well,
sweet.
which is great.
It's so good.
Which is great.
Because like he is such a fucking piece of shit and he's so fucking stupid too. And so yeah, Johnny was saying there was part of the reason why he lost this lawsuit is because his fucking dumbass defense team, his lawyers accidentally emailed his
I know, I
entire
saw
text
that.
log
It is
to
insane.
the
What?
prosecutors.
The
Like,
fucking lawyer
oh
looks at
my
him in the
God.
eye in the courtroom and
Yeah.
goes, "Do you know what perjury is?"
what a fucking idiot. He's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not a tech guy.
I told you, I'm not a tech guy. Yeah. We are not tech guy.
Oh, it's so good. So of
I
course
love
he
it,
hired
yeah.
a fucking team of idiots to represent him. Of course he hired a team of
Totally.
idiots. Like
Totally.
and it's so sweet because in the whole like Trump era that we're trying to get out of now, someone like Trump, who is just as stupid, if not more stupid than Alex Jones, he unfortunately is kind of protected by the powers that be. I don't have any faith that he's ever going to be indicted. He's ever going to, you know, kind of see his time for any of the shit that he did. But Alex Jones is nowhere near powerful or important enough to be protected in that way. And so
Which is why he's getting dragged right
same
now.
way-
Just it
So
feels
weird
good.
because he was like,
Exactly, yeah.
there was a small period of time when he was
Yeah.
first like, oh, you're just like the anti,
Yep.
like
Yeah.
CNN and
Oh,
Fox
totally.
and everyone
Yeah.
guy.
There was a time,
And
like,
then
I
he
mean,
like
yeah.
he had an interview that was on like a morning talk show or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yep.
Are you
And
talking
he
about lizard
just
people?
went bananas. It was
Yeah.
the first time I was like, oh, fucking aliens,
Yeah.
lizard people, and like,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
that was it. It was like, yo, oh, you're just nuts.
Yeah.
And now everyone's like, you're just nuts. And then he
Yeah.
just leaned into that shit so fucking hard.
Oh,
leaned into
totally.
it and lost his mind.
Yeah,
too,
man.
like,
and his
truly.
fucking house.
He became like the fucking
yeah,
he
yeah.
became the thing of not to watch. Is actually like it's going to be cool because the album that we could talk about that we're talking about today. This is kind of the same thing for a young conspiracy theorist, Johnny DeVito. Like I like to keep it light. I like aliens and fun stuff. I like to use those conspiracy theories almost as like adding like a little bit of like whimsy into the world or whatever. So I don't take everything so seriously, right? You can always kind of see the story behind something, right? But when you start, the way that the world is, the place that the world has gotten to now, when you have, people like that are following him so far down rabbit holes, it actually becomes dangerous, right? Like you can
Exactly.
And like,
fucking
what a
see-
weird fucking
Exactly.
hill to
Because when-
die on. Like, what a
exactly.
weird thing to be
Because, dude,
like,
30 years
oh,
ago.
this is
Yeah.
not real.
Totally.
Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Totally. Dude,
Yeah.
like it's when
Yeah.
he
And
has-
to be like,
there's
to
a video
to
there with, like,
protect,
the parents were there to tell him how big of a piece of shit he is in the courtroom, and there's a fucking horrific video of a mother sitting there and being like, "How can you tell me that my son wasn't a real person. You know what I mean? Like we have birth records. How can you say that I'm not a real person? That I'm a fucking actor? And like, it was so powerful seeing like finally getting the opportunity for a parent to look at you and tell you that like really fuck you, man. Like it's fucking insane. Because 30 years ago, as a young conspiracy theorist, you know what I mean? He was doing great work. He snuck into Bohemian Grove with John Ronson, and John Ronson wrote like The Men Who Stare at Goats. There's a great book about this Bohemian Grove thing and stuff. And at the time, Alex Jones was just a dude that basically was also a conspiracy theorist, but he discovered that like government agent provocateurs were in Seattle riots and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Kind of similar to when they say that like police and the government were placing bricks during the riots and stuff and all the George Floyd things, and you know what I mean, right? There's a lot of that kind of weird stuff or whatever that was kind of coming to light or whatever. So like had he, you know, whatever fucking crossroads this son of a bitch was at, you know what I mean, and decided to go down this way, when this woman calls him out specifically to be like, how can you say that I'm not real? For money. Like, that's what you could do. And he's just kind of sitting there, has to take it, right? Like, you fucking, like, you're a piece
It's
of
fucking
shit.
crazy.
Yeah.
Especially because he's like, his whole defense to it was like, oh, it's because they want to like the gun laws. They want to make stricter gun laws. But I'm like, but they don't make stricter gun laws.
Yeah.
How many of these fucking things happen and it never happens?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
still hasn't happened.
That's like
How is this not
always-
happening?
Yeah, that's
It's
always the
fucking
fucking
insane.
defense is that the far right wing Republicans are so scared that they're gonna take away their guns. Where it's like, no one is fucking taking away anyone's guns in the States. And even if they did make the gun laws stricter, no one would be taking away your fucking guns. Like, that's never how it would work. And not to mention, like, the Democrats there aren't out, you know, they're not lobbying any or spearheading any efforts, the Democrats that are in power, to tighten up the gun laws. So it's not... It's
No,
just
it's
like this
everybody.
constant
It's
paranoia.
the
and
talking point to keep, you know what I mean?
It's the
news
fear
to go to-
mongering.
That's
Well, it's
thing
the
is-
fear mongering for their base because that's what they
right.
want to get people scared because then they get them riled up. And like Alex Jones, like regardless of how he started, he's always been a piece of shit. So this was always how it was gonna go. And is it a woodpecker out there?
There's something clicking up there. Hey, Aiden, you're gonna have to wait for a bit, buddy.
But yeah, and so it's so nice to kind of see a little bit of justice in the States, which happens so very rarely.
Which, it is great, right? But I think that he's there's, you know, back even like 20 years ago or whatever, like whenever the news, like CNN became like a 24-hour news cycle, right? Whenever there's news constantly 24 hours and thing, and now there's like 3, 4, you know what I mean, major channels or whatever that all they have to do is news that you just need something to talk about or whatever, right? It's this kind of stuff where like the right wing's worried about losing their guns, or the left wing, you know what I mean, like whatever, you know what I mean, kind of like social justice movement or whatever, right? It just kind of takes away from the fact that they're like, you're being fucked. You know what I mean? You're being fucked by the powers that be or whatever, right? And I just think that all that stuff is that, you know, that like just simple distractions or whatever to keep people away from, you know, actually making some progress in their own life or whatever, right? You can stay mad at a different person. You're drawing a line in the sand. And when you have like a guy like Alex Jones, especially being like kicked off social media or whatever, like that just even fucking pushes people even further into a hole, man.
Yeah, because
You know what I mean?
he knows.
Take all his money. Take all his
Yeah,
money and
exactly.
fuck his
Because he's actually mobilizing people to do things that are dangerous and harmful, like the whole Pizzagate shit that he had such a huge hand in, and the fucking Sandy Hook shit is just like,
not about
it's disgusting. Yeah, it's so gross, and like he for so long, like even fucking Joe Rogan, like, and I have defended Joe Rogan so many times because I believe like he's very strongly that he's a comedian and no one should take his
I think
words on.
for sure misunderstood on a lot
Exactly,
of things.
and so I don't agree with everyone saying.
Sometimes
he
you
should
gotta stop having Alex Jones on your show.
Exactly,
Dude, when it
exactly.
happened,
Like
like,
I
she
don't
got
give
so
a
mad
fuck.
at me, bro.
Like I don't give a
Holy
fuck if you guys used to be friends. You have to fucking cut assholes out of your life and not give them fucking 5 hours of airtime when you have millions of people listening. You know, and you already know how dangerous.
Who else
his
was
fan
on that?
base
Was it
can be.
Dylan?
It was
Tim Dillon or something?
yeah, it was Tim Dillon, and
He was on
Tim
a
Dillon
couple
was, Yeah,
times.
so the good
Yeah,
one
yeah.
was, and that was the one that really kind of blew us up. That I was just like, I mean,
Yeah,
well, did
we
you
were
listen to it?
fucking
It's
in
really
the-
entertaining.
in the corner of
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
We're in the
It's
fucking corner of
fucking
Pub
hilarious.
340,
And it's
like
like-
getting
it's so
heated
funny.
about it.
Totally,
Yeah,
right?
and
like
it's
right up my
yeah.
alley. And Tim Dillon was wearing a Free Lane fucking shirt and
It's
stuff.
so
It was
Yeah.
so gnarly.
But it's
You
like,
know.
I don't believe that Joe Rogan has the responsibility of a newscaster, and he can say whatever the fuck he wants, and he can have whoever the fuck he wants on his podcast.
Totally.
But it will, I think, make people like me rightfully upset when you give someone like that fucking platform, you know, to
Yeah.
get out your fucking dangerous message to more people, you know. I think a line has to be drawn there from my perspective, and so that's the
So
only
guys, get ready
thing
for our
that's
next
kind of,
guest, Alex Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
Which-
He's such a fucking piece of shit, and yeah, this whole like Sandy Hook debacle has just been like disgusting, like the way that he's handled it, and so it's so nice to see him fucking getting hammered with the
Oh,
book
yeah.
like that. Oh, it's so
Take it to
good.
the cleaners.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But yeah, but moving along. Our next story we wanted to cover briefly. Johnny, I think you probably know more about it than I do.
Yeah, basically what we have is just a good old class of shenanigans in the astronomy world, right?
Oh, I love a little shit when scientists get smug with me. Oh, I love it.
You know, it's so cool because the new telescope that they have, do you know the name of it? They have a new very powerful telescope that's bringing in some of the most beautiful images of our solar system that we've ever seen, right? In higher detail
I don't know
than
if
we've
we've
seen.
ever seen. I've seen all of these images on the sides of vans in the 80s.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Where's
If
the
you
guy
just
with
put
the
if
unicorn and no shirt on, this is bullshit.
put a unicorn over top of that shit. I was like, those pictures came out and everyone was losing their mind. I'm like,
Why is
my
there
my
a chick
uncle
with huge tits and a sword?
my uncle Dean had this.
Yeah. The like Hubble one. Yeah,
The
yeah.
Hubble telescope.
The
That's
Hubble
right.
telescope where they just
Yeah.
had all the different galaxies and
Totally.
shit. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, absolutely
Science been doing
fascinating.
cool
right?
shit for a minute.
Absolutely.
I don't know if
Science
you know.
been on one. Science
Yeah.
been on one for a
Science
minute.
been on one.
So,
They're on a roll.
What I believe
Oh,
French
speaking of
astronomer.
science, brief segue.
Okay.
Have you seen that fucking dog shit movie, Don't Look Up?
Oh my God!
No.
Don't
Oh,
look at the TV.
don't watch this fucking movie.
It's fucking
More like,
sucks
yeah,
so much
don't
ass.
waste your fucking time.
my God.
Oh my God. It's an Adam McKay movie, so usually they're great.
Totally. And like I
And
fear the end of the
star-studded
world.
cast: Jonah Hill, Leonardo DiCaprio, Meryl Streep,
Jennifer
Jennifer
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
What?
How could
Yeah.
you fuck this up?
How
man? It's
could you
crazy.
fuck it
It's
up?
honestly,
It's
nuts.
terrible.
And like
It's
I mean,
dog
Adam McKay
shit.
is like
Yeah.
remember Talladega Nights. I mean,
Yeah,
Right.
Anchorman.
The list goes on, right? He's so
Yeah.
capable of doing a funny movie. This was not that.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? As kind of as a young conspiratorial mind or whatever, the end of the
Always
world
coming
is
back to
something-
this.
It's
Yeah.
always something that I think about. The end of the world is something that I'm terrified about. Jack
Yeah.
will remember. She came home one day and I woke up from a nap and I was fucking so scared because I had a dream. I saw it and I saw how it was gonna fucking happen, man. And it was a nuclear blast. I saw a mushroom cloud come over the like the mountain.
Look at that mushroom
And-
cloud.
The only thing that it was so scary because it was so real because the only thing that I wanted to do was just get inside because I didn't even know who was inside, but I just needed to see somebody before we were complete. Like it was fucking terrifying, right? So if you're gonna fucking do an end of the world movie, don't fuck it up for me.
Yeah.
Come on,
It
man.
was like-
Leo dropping the ball.
Yeah, basically, I don't fault the actors. It's entirely the script.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
100%.
but it's like basically the story is so bad. It's
Yeah.
like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, they set up that there's a 10-kilometer long asteroid headed to Earth.
Planet
that if
Smasher.
if it hits, yeah, it's called a planet killer. If it hits, it's
Oh, yeah, Planet
absolutely.
Smasher was a ska band.
Yeah,
Check
it's absolutely
Great
100%
name.
gonna wipe out the human population. And then the end of the movie is that the asteroid hits the Earth and wipes out the human population. Like there's no stakes. They keep going back and forth on whether or not they're gonna destroy it or not destroy it. Go back and forth. In the end, it just the climax is exactly what you set up fucking 3 hours ago.
Just-
you know,
it's
it's
film
so,
writing 101. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like-
there's
it
no
was- bad.
exciting twists or anything. The characters are terrible. The two main
absolutely
characters,
fucking deplorable people that
Yeah.
just have no redeeming qualities that you
Yeah.
can really get behind, and you're supposed to
Yeah.
be like
and
you
do
know what I mean?
things that
Science,
don't
like,
make
all
sense.
altruistic.
Yeah,
Oh fuck,
yeah.
we were mad.
They
We
like
were
set up
fucking mad,
these
Ty.
characters, you know, in the first like 10 minutes of a movie. You kind of have an idea of who the characters are, and then they keep doing things that don't make any fucking sense for their character.
I feel like you guys are just describing the Elvis movie to me.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel. God damn it!
Yeah.
Don't fuck with something we love.
Trash, it was trash.
Yeah. The whole thing. The only redeeming quality of this movie is that Jonah Hill and Meryl Streep's characters were hilarious.
They were really
yeah,
good.
they were good,
really
but they
funny.
were in very few scenes.
Yep.
And yeah, just don't waste your fucking time. But anyways,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally. So basically, what this is a little bit a lighter note than definitely the total destruction of the planet. What we have here, I believe, is a French astronomer basically reported findings of the
I didn't
closest.
know it was a French guy. Of
Oh, yeah.
course,
I
it's
think
his
it might
son.
not be though.
No, it was
Okay.
because I saw the tweet. The tweet's in French.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Which is like you don't expect Frenchmen.
So this is just a okay.
Yeah.
continue.
You don't expect Frenchmen to be tricksters,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you see a tweet in
You
French,
clearly
you're
never
like,
seen
that's
it just
legit.
for a laugh gag, huh?
Yeah, you don't usually expect
You know
a
the
lot
gag
of,
when
yeah.
the officer is pervy in the bush? Huh? I love that one. Some of them don't make any sense. Look
Yeah.
at this guy being creepy. What are we
Yeah,
doing?
don't usually laugh
yeah.
a lot when you
She's got
hear the
gag.
French language.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, my brother's girlfriend just got JFL gagged in Montreal.
Yeah, you have to say
Yeah.
that because you just said
Yeah.
gay. Yeah, her cousin just got gagged. sorry, excuse me.
That's true. I was kind of interested because this one involves
I
a lot of
bet
free
you
spaghetti.
were.
Yeah.
It involves free spaghetti. So like if I was walking down the street, I'd be like, "Oh, free spaghetti!" Like I'd fuck up the gag because I'd be in line trying to get.
What was the gag? She got offered free.
They were walking down the street, my brother and his girlfriend, and all of a sudden they walk by a free spaghetti stand.
Fuck yeah.
And then the girl who's minding the stand is like, oh, like I need help moving something to my car. And so my brother's like, oh, okay, I'll help you. And then,
Yeah.
which is like,
He's
right
like, I
off,
want that
Totally
yeah,
Kelly.
right
Right up
off
his
the
own.
bat, I'm already like, this would never happen to us because in that situation, we would just keep walking.
Oh, yeah.
But they're like, yeah, Kelly's like, oh yeah, I'll help you. And Gwyn will mind the stand while they're gone.
Apparently,
and so,
and the stand that like his bowls of spaghetti, like free just plates of spaghetti.
yeah, and so she's minding the free spaghetti stand, and then a lady comes up in like a nice suit, and she's like, "Oh, I'm on my way to a meeting." And then
I
she goes,
see where this is
goes
going.
to take the bowl, and then they're like glass bowls, and Gwyn is like, "Oh, I don't know if you can take that. These are nice glass bowls." And so the lady's like, "Oh, that's okay. I'll just put it in my pockets." So she takes the spaghetti and starts shoving it in her pockets, and then Gwyn's just standing there watching this, like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever." And then she's like, "Oh, I'd like some like cheese or whatever. Can you shake it into my purse?" And so then Gwyn's just like shaking the
That's
cheese
so
into
funny.
the purse. And yeah, and so then the lady and my brother come back and explain it was a gag or whatever. And in my head, I'm like, I bet you anything the prank was supposed to be that she let them take the bowl and they come back like, what the fuck?
Where's
Like
the
those are
bowl?
my grandma's bowls or whatever.
Yeah.
But instead, this lady had to improvise.
That or like or maybe
Yeah.
she's like, don't take those bowls. She, I'm gonna take it, and then like
Yeah.
there's
Exactly.
kind of
They
a
have a
whatever
couple
over the
different
bowl,
outcomes,
and then the
Yeah.
woman who's going to this business meeting spills all this
Oh.
spaghetti
Oh,
shit all over her, and
yeah.
now she's upset, and
Yeah,
then they come back,
yeah.
and
But they
hey,
just
I
had a
see it-
sweetheart.
Hey, and listen there, I see a gag or two before in my life, huh?
Again,
I know a gag laugh.
if I was in that scenario, I would have been like, I guess take the bowl. I mean, they're in the bowls, fucking take them.
I mean,
you know?
we are at a
Like,
free
I guess-
spaghetti stand.
Yeah, I guess free spaghetti. Yeah, I would have been eating them. Yeah, I would have been eating the spaghetti. Yeah, like that's free.
Fucking, he's more
Bitch, they're
fucking
noodles.
cool
I'm gonna eat
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's red sauce. Come on. Oh my god,
God.
it's fantastic. But yes, with the same spirit of the gag, this French astronomer said that he put up.
Can't get
No, oh yeah, we're not gonna get to this album. We're fucking 40 minutes
Every
into
time
this.
Johnny brings in an album.
The old Fanny.
yeah. We'll name this something else because we'll get into we'll talk
Yeah.
about this record
Yeah,
another
yeah,
time. But basically, what this guy did, which is kind of kick ass, right? I think he reported findings of the most detailed photo of the closest star to our sun. Shit, what was the name of it?
I don't remember.
Alpha Centauri or some shit like that. Anyway, basically he posted this, and everybody was like, "My goodness! Like, look at the detail on this photo." And what that photo turned out to be was a slice of chorizo sauce.
Nice.
which
So
is
good.
awesome,
Yeah.
Which is
Oh,
awesome.
I
So
love a
really highlights
chorizo.
the fact that French people don't have their own kind of sausages. You know what I mean? There's sausage. There's French. Is there French sausage? There's bangers. There's Italian sausage.
Sausage?
There's chorizo. You know what I mean?
Sausage.
Sausage.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some kind
There's
of.
gotta be. They
I
gotta.
feel like
make
they're always just like
sausages.
stuffing meat into ducks.
Totally.
Yeah,
There's-
usually their
right?
thing.
That's usually
Yeah.
takes
They're
up
like-
their time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of butter
they're
going
too
on.
busy
Oh,
churning
everything
butter.
is, but that's why I love French
Yeah.
cuisine is my favorite. Cause I'm
I've
like
found-
everything starts with a stick of butter.
I've
It's
never
great.
really enjoyed an entire French meal, but I feel like I would. You know,
Oh,
I've been to
yeah.
a French restaurant or done
Oh,
anything like
I
that. but
Yeah,
I,
it's
you
it's
know, love it.
fucking rich, but
Kinda
it's good.
classical.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Very
yeah. It's a
chill.
lot of like very like traditional classic cooking, right? I feel
Yeah.
like they've kind of maintained their you know
Yeah.
roots.
Which
Yeah.
is fascinating too. Which I'd like in the.
I feel like it's a
in
good
the-
base to
well,
have.
I-
to,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah.
you need to establish like a basis. Same thing like when like with writing school and all that stuff. Right, that was like the best lesson that you ever learned is that you have to know the fucking rules before you can know how to break them. Right,
Exactly,
like Picasso
yeah.
was a really good artist.
Right.
Before he started fucking like slapping paint around doing weird shit or whatever. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just like come in with no.
You gotta
knowledge
paint
of
realism
things.
before you chop your ear off.
I guess,
Exactly,
you know,
yeah,
Van
yeah,
Gogh was
There you go.
same
That was
thing,
good.
same
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
you know,
You said
same
Picasso.
right?
Sorry.
But
I
Yeah,
put him in the
think,
same
Come
category.
on,
right?
you
But also just being like
fucking idiot.
Michelangelo, Donatello.
Who's this
Listen,
fucking guy?
listen. If they weren't a fucking Ninja Turtle, I don't want to hear about it.
Good man.
Right? Are you even an artist if you
Picasso's in
weren't?
the Foot Clan.
Are
okay?
you even in? Are you even an artist if you weren't in the Ninja Turtle? Lose my number.
It's a good
Yeah.
point. It's a good point. To
It's
have.
in the Foot
Yeah.
Clan.
But yeah, I love the spirit of this French scientist.
I wonder why he
Yeah,
chose
I didn't even know
chorizo.
that
I
they
think that the
had
reason that he did
French
it-
scientists.
I
I
think
didn't know
that-
that they
That's how
fucked
you
with
know
science.
it's like
Yeah.
suspect to begin
Yeah,
with.
right.
Well,
They're like,
which is-
I'm pretty sure you guys don't do science. There.
Because it's like, yeah, I wonder what's going on in the galaxy. We can use this top telescope. What do you think? Who kills?
Yeah, right?
100%. I always feel like they got something else going on. Like they're just waiting to
That
get to
sounds like
fucking.
some silly American
Yeah,
thing to do.
exactly. Right? He's just getting a blowjob as it's happening, right? Like I feel like
I
they're.
wonder how widely this photo was like spread before he kind of come out. It was like, oh, guys.
Psych. Like
How many
kinda
different
goofed you
sausages
there.
did he take photos of?
I
Yeah,
don't know if
before
that
he
was just the
found
one
the
that was in
perfect
his
one.
lunch, right?
Yeah,
It
if
was
it was like a
chorizo.
spur of the moment thing, or if he was
Totally.
like, this would be funny.
Well, the idea is that would which I kind of thought was interesting because I think there should be like filing like a false police report or whatever, right? Like if scientific
Wow.
findings or whatever.
Jail time?
Not necessarily, but think about this, right? Like if he wasn't going to come out and kind of think he kind of backpedaled, right? And it wasn't necessarily like a joke or a prank, like I think he initially thought it was or whatever. Basically, what he said was he was doing this so that people can be. Like weary of it, like don't believe
Oh,
everything
I
that you
hate
read
that
on the
shit.
internet.
Oh,
which is
no,
a really
that's a
asshole
save.
thing to do.
No,
as
that's a
scientists,
save.
right?
Yeah,
That's a save.
such bullshit. Yeah,
Exactly,
I did this as a lesson to you all.
Whack.
Yeah,
like,
whack.
fuck,
Way to
what, is
backpedal
this
it.
fucking
Not
Sesame
about it.
Street?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally, right? So that was like, I mean, great idea, I think, just on execution and I maybe dropped the ball right at the goal line, right? I think that might be the situation with this one, but still very cool. Are you guys big prankers? You guys ever?
No, I don't love that genre of comedy
Sure.
because I don't like personally, I don't like making people embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
because it
I'm with
makes
you.
me uncomfortable.
I'm with
It
you.
makes me feel like very uncomfortable
Yeah.
and really bad
Yeah.
from it. It's just not that funny to me.
My
But
family
there are-
definitely did growing up. Like,
Totally.
it was, like,
Yeah.
pretty
Oh, yeah.
pranky. I think that's why I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
good.
My friends
Yeah.
know I'm a pretty gullible guy. Like, I mean, like
yeah,
it always
I'm
comes
pretty
back to
gullible,
conspiracy
yeah.
theories. So I never
Yeah.
realize that it's April 1st when somebody sends me the wildest
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And,
Oh,
I
yeah, I
just
bet
hook,
for
line,
that.
and sinker every
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
time. Dude.
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, it's so funny to you that I trust you and believe this.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
you.
And it pisses me off. Like, why are you gonna tell me that? Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, my
fuck
favorite
me.
band is gonna
Yeah,
tour again
I'm a
when they're
Look
fucking
at this
idiot.
pussy. Trust me.
Yeah, like I'm a fucking idiot, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
the last year's one where I basically was like reading an
What a
article.
loser.
I got fucking punked by like like a punk rock fucking like website or whatever that I found to be like reputable, like punknews.org. And I was reading it.
Is
and
it the .org that got you?
I've been. It's old, man. I've been fucking reading it since a kid, right? So I was reading an article, and it was basically talking about like, how fucking stupid like April Fool's is or whatever, right? And like how it's like kind of, is it dumb to kind of prank your friends or whatever? And they kind of set me up because I was like, they're not going to do it because the next morning I woke up and it was. There was two things. One was Minor Threat is getting back together and touring again, which I was like, this is fucking amazing. And then the other one was. Oh, somebody like is making I was so fucking mad that I almost threw the fucking phone across the room, and then I realized as I was like, oh, first of all, what is going on in my head that I'm being so affected by this news? And second of all, I just got caught. You know what I mean? Hard, right? So I think that anybody that I like, when a prank is done right, then it could be done right. When it's done wrong, it could be fucking painful. Because I was walking across my high school field on the way to the smoke pit, and I'm kind of waving at the boys, pulling out a dart. Everything is cool. My buddy took a grate that was in the middle of the field, for drainage or whatever, and just it was like a manhole cover, and just kind of moved it like that. And I'm fucking 6'3", and I just step into a hole, and I could have really fucked my shit up.
Fucking,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could have really
That's a femur,
fucked my
bro.
shit up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah, that's
know
why
what I mean?
only
They had a really good laugh about this shit, but fuck you, Kenny Olsen, still to this day, and I'll fuck you up on site.
There was this weird transition of like I feel like there was like 80s pranks and like 90s pranks that were like, oh, baby powder in a hairdryer.
Totally.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Totally.
Who doesn't
Yeah,
think that's
saran
boom,
wrap on the
boom,
toilet
poof,
seat.
shaving
Yeah.
cream in the towel.
Totally.
Yeah,
I like the old hockey pranks. I
Harmless.
loved all.
Like,
Yeah.
when does it get to the
Shit,
point where
yeah.
we were drinking with my family?
But it's
we
like
were
you're getting like you're breaking
Yeah.
bones.
My
Exactly.
brother's
The
fucking-
people who don't know how to prank start
Yeah.
pranking, and then
Dude.
they're just
I
hurting.
think Jackass
Yeah.
ruined it for everybody.
Well, yeah,
That's
exactly.
what
It's
happened.
like, no more than
Well-
like
Unless you're
1
hitting your
month
people in
ago,
the
we were
balls, it's
drinking
like-
with my family, and my brother takes a beer box and he puts it like a 15-pack like over my head, and then fucking claps my ears together like underneath the box. And my ears are fucked up, man. That really fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
I
not
fucking-
a prankster.
Yeah. Even fucking when we were watching the newest Jackass, and they have like all of their interviews and shit like coming back for the first time in however many years, and they're all like on edge, and they're like, I mean, it's fun, but to be honest, I kind of have PTSD because I never know when
Yeah.
shit's gonna turn,
Right,
and
something
kind of
fucked up
seeing
is
all
gonna
their
happen.
reactions where they're like still going along with it, but you can see that they're kind of sick of this shit too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, I love coming back
Yeah.
every 10 years for the check, but like,
Yeah, but they're
what
like,
the fuck
you
you
can
guys
tell
gonna
them-
do to me now?
There's like time where
They
they're
release a
like
bear in the room
interviewing
with the
them
guy
and they're
and
just
shit.
like looking around. They're like I don't know if this is legit or if something's about to happen right now. Like they're constantly on edge
Oh,
on
Fuck
set.
that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're at the point now where it's like, oh, it's not like someone's gonna come flick your ear. It's like, oh, the chair you're sitting in is gonna explode.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you're gonna go like 50
Yeah.
feet in the
Yeah. Like
you imagine,
it
like,
was,
yeah, like,
one
sitting
of
on
the
there,
guys-
like,
all the time, dude.
Yeah.
Like, fuck
One
that.
of the, he was like one of the guy's dads or whatever. Yeah, they locked him in a room with a fucking grizzly
I smoked
bear.
too much weed for that shit.
Yeah, dude, I was
Way too
watching it.
paranoid
I
for
was like,
that
this
shit.
isn't funny.
Totally,
Like,
dude.
this is fucked up. And the
Yeah.
grizzly bear like kind of like went up and was kind of like inspecting him. And the dude was like, guys, please stop. Like, let me out. I'm freaking the fuck out. And they just don't.
Well, like
Yeah.
the
They're
same
like, "Oh,
guy's
it's
dead. They
fine."
fucking
Yeah.
bring him up in a fucking
Yeah.
plane, and he's terrified of flying. So
Yeah.
then they bring him up with the plane, and the pilot is like, "Oh, we're fucked. This is crazy." And the pilot jumps out.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
guy's like terrified of flying, and now he's just in a fucking plane crash, and they got to
It's
fucking
like
jump
actually creating
out.
trauma.
Yeah, dude. It's
Yeah,
the
that's like
gnarly-
extreme Maury shit.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You're
Or
scared.
there's, like,
Do you
the-
remember that fucking show that was on? I believe it was like Teletoon or something like that. It was like it was a prank show that was fucking gnarly. I wish Robbie was here. 'cause
I
couldn't
think
get the-
wasn't it YTV?
something like
Yeah,
that.
I think I do remember that
We'll,
vaguely.
yeah,
yeah.
well, I'll Google it. We'll come back to it another
But,
time. But
but yeah,
some of
and
that shit is just like
There was like one that didn't happen this one. It was from an earlier Jackass where they locked them in a room with the lights out and just like were periodically like attacked by people for like half an hour. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, dude, that fucked me up for a long time.
I don't know
Yeah.
how they're that like old in doing it because I'm
Right.
35 and I'm like, fuck all that, dude. I'm like, I'm
Exactly.
too old for
Yeah,
this
and
shit.
but
What
I
are you
think like
talking
once
about?
you're like in, they're at the point where like,
Yeah.
well, I cannot do another movie or whatever.
Yeah,
10 years
it's
later.
wild.
But
fucking
yeah.
nuts. But I mean, I did ride a couple shopping carts in the back in my day. You know,
Of
what
course,
I mean?
of
Absolutely.
course,
A
yeah.
lot of good times there.
Yeah.
What around 1998? Wait, what else came out in that around that year?
Guys, just 10 minutes. We're gonna do another.
No, let's do a little. We gotta do a little bit of it.
We're
Come on.
doing it.
We're
We're
doing
doing it. Yes, of course. We have to do a fucking album. We're doing it. Yeah, yeah.
The 1998 release was actually Waterworld, but this says Masters of the Universe by Binary Star. I believe underground hip hop at its finest. I released on Subterranean Records, an underground classic. Only sold about 20,000 units in that, upon its release, and kind of an interesting backstory of the group. Binary Star, two fellas, one below, and Sanam Silla. I always thought that was like a Muslim name or something, but it's just all his minds backwards. And I thought that was
Oh.
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, the more you learn, the more you nerd.
You know, the more you nerd. Ba-da-ba.
Absolutely. So I think in in the rise to hip hop, like whereas what hip hop is now, not necessarily like the 5 elements or whatever that was used to just be breakdancing, DJing, MCing, graffiti, you know what I mean, or I guess the 4, but the entire thing kind of gets away from itself, right, when something becomes big business. And at the time when this album comes out, I mean, you have definitely a lot of like fantastic underground stuff. Like within the same year, you have like the Roots releasing their Everything Falls Apart. Shit, I have a whole
98's insane.
Yeah,
96 to 98. It's just like what the
Exactly.
fuck is
like
going down?
absolutely
It's
fucking
nuts.
you know what I mean, insane. Mos Def, Black on Both Sides, Method Man and Redman, Blackout, Pharoah Monch, Internal Affairs, Inspector Deck and GZA both released their own fucking solo albums and shit like that. But on the charts sides, you have a little well-known fellow named Eminem releasing the Slim Shady LP. You know what I mean? Dr. Dre's Chronic 2001 is coming out at this time. Nas and Jay-Z both respectively have, you know what I mean, fantastic albums. And then you also have, down in the South, you have Southern kind of thing popping up with the Hot Boys. And Lil Wayne at this time is coining a term, bling bling. You know what I mean? This is the beginning of a generation that I think you're really going to see the core elements of hip-hop kind of like fall away. So when you kind of... when I was raised on this stuff, it was kind of like, you know what I mean, Nelly and Eminem and all and Dr. Dre, Snoop, you know what I mean? All this stuff was like was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So I remember I was learning how to rhyme a little bit myself, and I was venturing to a different town, and I made some friends.
As you do.
Of course.
As you
right?
do.
You know what I mean? You're having some fun, and I ended up at a house party with some kids where... much older fellas came through. There's a fella, DJ Bricks is a very popular DJ around the like the Sean Ballot kind of scenes. He's also a fantastic hip hop DJ. His brother Sean, Sess at the time, Shawnee Sean, wild fucking, very very fucking good MC in his own right. He had a single when we were kids. This is for my people pumping bass, who don't know trunk space and all that shit. It was the time when they had big 12-inch subs and stuff in the back of the car. So we were in a house together, and they were like, "Oh, Johnny raps or whatever," right? So I had to kind of like, I kicked a couple rhymes or whatever that I kind of knew.
He spit some bars.
Yeah, man, I spit some bars. I spit some bars, and they were fucking. They were really cool, kind of like supportive or whatever. Kind of like, "Oh, we know that shit." Like, you're like 15 or something, drinking at this house party. Like, you're coming up fast, kid. Here you go. And then it got to the point in the evening, much later, where I realized I was drunk and I was in a different town. Now I'm gonna have to like hitchhike down a fucking mountain to try to get home. So this is becoming a thing. Sean's brother there, who's another one of the older MCs, was my friend from high school's older brother. So Daryl McCaskill, shout out to that dude. He kind of recognized there was like a young boy at this party that was kind of looking around as everything was kind of, everybody's see you later. People are hopping into vehicles and stuff like that. And I had a skateboard, and it was going to be a kind of a wild ride home. So Daryl goes, "Hey man, get in the car. I'll meet you outside." So I get outside, and the car that they're driving is like a 1979 Lincoln Continental.
Oh,
with like white interior and shit. And I was like, "This is fucking dope."
I am the coolest
Hell
15-year-old.
yeah,
Oh man.
Oh dude, I got in there, and I was like, "This is gonna be the best ride ever." And then they got into the car with me, and as they got in the car, my friend Eric Preety gave this guy named Sess. We used to do press pill ecstasy back in the day. It was called ecstasy. You didn't really know what was in that pill.
Yeah.
It was a lot different from MDMA. So he goes, "Man, I just took one of those pills, man, and it's kicking in a lot faster." And then it turns out Daryl McCaskill is just on mushrooms as well. What I didn't realize was that I just got in like what could potentially be a dangerous vehicle. And Sean is kind of freaking out as the as the buzz is kind of going up. And I'm only 15 at the time, and they're not going to let me drive this Lincoln Continental down the hill. So basically, what we did was we pulled into a driveway of somebody's home that was, definitely either sleeping or not home or whatever. Just let us do our thing, and they kind of told me about like real hip hop in the sense that I'd never really kind of like knew about it. Right? Kind of like
you're getting schooled in the back of a Lincoln
really
Continental.
Yeah. They put me up on game big time, and then they played an album for me. And the first song on it is fucking Reality Check. You know what I mean? It was this album, and it was kind of my introduction to that thing. And you could hear immediately like how thoughtful the lyrics are, how they were kind of shining a light at everything. It was a punk rock attitude to like a rap record that I hadn't heard. You know what I mean? That I was like really kind of that I needed to hear at that time. Right? You're like, wait a minute, there's something that's fucking not right about this, because now hip hop is big business, right? And it's definitely. It was happening in the rock and roll that I was listening to or whatever. As soon as you find that like, Blink-182 and Green Day aren't as punk as these bands.
Yeah.
So you can see the same thing in hip hop, and I thought that like the attitude about it was always different because maybe it was just like jealousy because who wouldn't want to have as much money as those guys have, right? But I think that like what it comes down to is there is just like a genuine like just displeasure with like mainstream like music fans or what is popular because when you have a guy like KRS-One or Rakim and Big Daddy Kane and like the people that like Cool G Rap or that you know are relatively like unknown to the youth today are making still touring and still being entertainers and stuff like that, but compared to the streaming downloads of some fucking kid that came out yesterday, you know what I mean, right? Like they're never gonna get the shine. And not only that, I think like the monetary respect that, I mean, some of these artists are fucking 60 years old now, you know what I mean? Some of these guys are getting up. Biz Markie maybe had a lot of fucking hospital bills. I think that had he not been on Yo Gabba Gabba and had some TV money or something like that, it might have been a little bit difficult for him to deal with. So I think when you just hear like some grown man say shit the right way, and then it kind of opened my doors to like whatever, like Jurassic 5 or like what I mean, like Aesop Rock and MF Doom and all that stuff that what I mean kind of came out at the same time, and then you kind of realize like, oh shit, I am that white underground hip hop nerd saying fuck Drake. You know what I mean? Like you kind of become that thing or whatever, right? Because when you see something done so well as I'll call myself a nerd or whatever, but like a student to any game that I respect, right? I think that if you love something, then get to know it. You know what I mean? And and then when you find somebody that that also loves that thing or whatever, then it's really weird, right? You find somebody that wants to dance, and then you can have like a fucking weird conversation that you've never heard. You know what I mean? That you've been waiting to have for 20 years or whatever because they've kind of like picked up the same knowledge or whatever. That kind of like attitude and like artistic integrity, I think, shines the whole way through this whole fucking album.
I love it because it's like that's such a great story of like because it's such an important like. Of course, to be straight up with you, those dudes could have played anything that night.
Yeah,
totally.
You could have got into the fucking Bay City Rollers, could have fucking came on, and they'd be like, "This is the real shit," and you would have got home. You would have got to school the next day to school. You're with the Bay City Rollers.
Impressionable young man, dude. I showed up in like a Rancid
You're the
t-shirt.
back of the. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
there is
so,
though. Yeah.
So I showed up with like to school the next day with like this crazy story. I ran into Colin. I was like, man, I fucking saw your brother on Saturday. It was dope, and everything was like, what are you talking about, right? And I had this fucking like this whole wild story, and I'm like,
you walk in there like a porn star, just chest out, dick swinging. Like I was in the back of the Wicked Continental on the weekend,
and then like
bro.
it was funny because they'd like drive by or whatever, and they like honk their Johnny. I'd be like, hey, boys.
Oh man,
like,
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It was like it opened like you know what I mean, like a few doors or whatever, and then I got I started to date a girl that was 2 years older than me as well, so like it just kind of like it brought me around like all this other stuff in the sense of like growing up a little bit faster, definitely on one side of the fence, but also being exposed to so much shit and being so insecure that I didn't want to admit that I didn't know what it was. So I felt like everything that I would be like, oh, like what's this Wu-Tang record? I have to go home and study everything about it.
Yeah, for sure. You end up knowing more. Dude,
yeah,
I mean, I know exactly the
yeah, because you're just too insecure to be like, what is this, right? Unless you have somebody that's like, son, let me sit down.
That's always a fun, like when you just get to that age where you're like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me about it?
Please.
I would like to learn about this.
Yeah.
Opposed to just being like,
When the internet went down, like all Canada was fucked up or whatever. We were sitting there just talking about something like, what was that? And we just didn't have Google to answer the question. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I'd be like, I guess we just don't know.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah. We're probably gonna forget about this in 5 minutes.
This album's crazy. So like, they're from Michigan.
Yeah.
A lot of good bands and stuff going on in Michigan there, Jackie. My favorite part about this is like it's one of the first things I read too. Is like so they do Waterworld and then they go on a tour, an extensive tour of Michigan. To just raise money to make the actual album.
Yeah.
Also just of Michigan because they're both on parole and can't leave the state.
Totally. So good. So funny.
The most thug shit ever.
Right? And when it gets into the thing like in that like you want to hear a song about the money we got, talk about the people we shot up, all that stuff. These kids are like, you know what I mean, very like, you know, very.
They don't
conscious
brag
raps.
about it though.
Nothing.
They're not. They're literally being like, this is not a good situation.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
They're like, this is not a good situation to be in. Like, we don't like this.
If your jail song is, I know why the Cage Bird sings. You know what I mean? It's so much like it's so much more of like an honest approach And I think that's why like Honest Expression at the end of the album too is just like I think like bookended that like with those two songs with Reality Check and Honest
The
Expression.
cover of this album too is great. It just looks like a picture of Vienna sausage or a
Right?
Teresa.
I've always been like,
And
"Dude,
it's
it
kinda
was
full
supposed to be a
circle, yeah.
microphone spaceship. This kind of sucks.
Yeah, this looks
Yeah,
awful.
it is very-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's made in MS Paint or
Totally.
something. Yeah.
Right? But
Mario
it's,
Paint.
but it's just
Yeah.
crazy. Like I mean, for two kids that were like high school friends to, you know what I mean, end up catching a fucking armed robbery fucking bid. For
Damn,
3 years,
bro.
man.
Oh
3
my
years they
God.
spent
It's a
together,
pretty-
right?
yeah.
Which is fucking insane for them to come out and all of their counterparts
fire.
in hip hop. There's a lot of fucking dudes that are talking a lot of shit at this time that did not. You know, do that shit or whatever. They would have had the street cred and all the bullshit or whatever that they would have wanted had they would have dealt with it that way. But again, like the integrity to doing something the way that they feel like it should be done or whatever, just like shines through. Because you could be, 19 or whatever, getting out when they're like fucking like 22 or 23 or something like that. You know what I mean? Talk about it all in the song, right? Find Islam and like to try to tell your mom that when you know what I mean. Just like I'm trying to like find my own way in this world or whatever, right? And all that stuff kind of shines through. But then when it comes back to I think like hip hop when it's done the right way is aggressive in the sense of like I'm the best. And like we're gonna show why, you know what I mean? Binary star, two stars are kind of revolving around each other, right? Which is really cool, and it kind of is kind of sad as well because it foreshadows the rest of their career, whereas that just doesn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now,
So isn't that fucking crazy though? Like you spend how much time in prison together, and then
Right.
and then you're like, oh, the process of making an album was too much for us.
Yeah.
So like we got to split up.
Yeah. Too
Childhood
intense.
was-
We
in the book.
probably had
Yeah.
sex together.
Yeah, it got a little weird.
Yeah. It definitely got weird.
The
Yeah.
music, it was too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
We just got all fucking Fleetwood Mac's rumors on it, and we're
Right.
like,
Yeah.
can't do it anymore.
Yeah, totally.
No.
Right? Which is
done.
upsetting because there's a
Yeah.
lot like this is a sought after album and like I'll talk about a little bit with how hard it was for me to actually get it into my possession. But now there so in 2014 there was like a lot of hype around the Binary Star reunion and stuff. But Decompose, one of the guys, he produced most of this record, and he actually has a verse on Indy 500. Binary Star now is One Below and Decompose.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Sanam Silla is a childhood friend with Rude Jude, the guy that does like Shade 45, and so they had like a podcast together and a bunch of little stuff like that. But the solo albums from Sanam Silla, the Name, the Motto, and the Outcome, and there's about 3. Sonogram, but it's like SO, you know what I mean? Like all the, it's probably like an anagram for something or whatever. So Sonogram, Rebirth, and Fetus are fantastic, and I think we have one more on the way. Like One Below is definitely like a prolific artist, and I think like you know what I mean. One of the, I'd put him in like one of my top 10 or whatever for like where I'm going. You know what I mean when I want to hear the real shit.
That's real shit.
Yeah.
That's real shit. God damn it. That's real shit.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. So, what I want to talk about, like, other than, you know what I mean? I think everything that, that I think I described how I feel about the record. But I think the important thing about this that why the nostalgia like kicks so hard for me on this album is because when I heard it in that car, that was just on like a blank CD, and they kind of told a young kid like, "You're never gonna find this."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this
Which is a challenge.
100%, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, fucking challenge accepted. Let's go.
Yeah.
So immediately you go
show these guys
you
how
go on the
fucking
computer
cool
and-
I am.
But like Discogs.com doesn't have that peer-to-peer sharing like LimeWire and stuff like that. I can really only find Reality Check, Indy 500, and
Right.
Honest Expression. You can't get the whole everything. You know what I mean? I didn't know
Before
Wolfman
the
Jack
days of
fucking
YouTube, yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So it became very, very difficult to the point where I was going to record stores and they were looking through catalogs, and I'm like, because it's on Subterraneous Records, which is not when they went for like a bigger distribution or whatever through Fat Beats and stuff, like there was kind of like a reissue, but the one that I have, some fucking how, you know what I mean, was found basically because after about 4 or 5 record stores of talking to, there was this one guy that was kind of like determined or whatever, because he was like, shit, like, you've been looking that hard for this thing? I'm like, yeah, it's got to fucking exist, right? It's only a 6-year-old album at that time. You know what I mean? So where the fuck? Where are these things? Only sold about 20,000 records, but that means there's 20,000 of these fucking things around somewhere.
Yeah.
So I go to this pizza place that was around the corner from the one that I worked at. It's a very Clerks type situation. Like I'd be working at, and they're like, "You work at a pizza place?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I want to go to a good pizza place." Like go around the corner to get that place, and then I noticed they were renovating the store next door. And then the dude that was like this music store guy, his name was Moch. His music store was. It's very hard in a small town to do one successfully. So half of it was like a framing place, and half of it was CDs and stuff like that, right? And young broke Johnny DeVito, I get to like hand out flyers and stuff like that, and then he'd give me CDs. My buddy was really into metal, so he'd pick like Children of Bodom double disc fucking 37 thing, and I'd get like a Punkorama sampler, and it's only like $9.99, so you'd be like, grab like 3 of those things or whatever. This guy's fucking really cool, kind of like a big help to to the discovering of bands or whatever. So when when he knew that I wanted this thing, basically he was talking to a friend of his who was opening this store, and he says, what you need to do is talk to this kid. He's looking for something. I bet you can't find it, kind of thing. And it was a challenge for this new guy, right? So I gave him all this money, and he said that he'd found the one copy, right? And it's coming into the store. So I was fucking elated, but with shipping and everything from Detroit or wherever the fuck it's coming from is about $45 for a young grade 10 boy on a pizza at a pizza place thing.
Yeah,
So it was
Especially shipping back then
Dude,
too. I mean,
put the
shipping's
money
always a
down on that
nightmare,
thing,
but
and I fucking waited. And I waited for months and months, dude. And honestly, at like 6 months, I went in there and I just kept going. And he's like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, it says it's coming, right? And I was just kind of pissed at that time. And I was like, well, I'm going to keep looking, because I was, at that time, the internet was getting a little bit better. I had a couple, couple bites here and there, whatever. eBay was popping. And I was thinking about getting one on eBay for like much, much more. And then I took the money back. And about 2 weeks later, I was just kind of skateboarding around town. And I just like went in, because he was still a good dude. I wasn't like fuck this guy or anything, you know what I mean? So I just like wanted to like peruse around, and I'm a fucking dirty finger dusty CD kid, right? Like I was just like looking for something cheap, and I go into this fucking store, and I'm just going through the B's, and Binary Star is in the fucking thing. He got the thing maybe like 2 months after or whatever, right? And then didn't call me. The son of a bitch was just on his shelf, and I didn't know. So like I did have the discovery moment of like, and, you know what I mean, right? And pulling it out. So like that was very cool. So my question to you guys is, have you ever fucking obsessed about something or overpaid, or you know what I mean?
100%.
Overpaid. I just paid almost $300 for 2 Red Hot Chili Pepper shirts.
I feel like that was coming up.
Overpaid for nostalgia things. Like I don't know. I don't have any shoes.
Fair enough.
Or like our instruments for sure. Yeah. I bought the most expensive guitar I ever bought, and the shittiest guitar too. It was a Fender Jazzmaster, like an American made, like a really great guitar. Soap bar pickup. It was gorgeous, sunburst. But like they are also notorious for like just how shitty the bridge is. It's so weird. Like you have to put like a Mustang bridge. But I'm like 16.
Are you a tinkerer like that? Was it?
Yeah,
was
for
that
sure.
kind
At
of
the
gonna be
time,
the
for
thing?
sure. At the time, I was, because I was like making pedals and like all that kind of stuff for sure. But it was like, I think the guitar was like $2,200 or something like that, which was like.
Wow.
It's a lot for kids, man.
There's a lot of fucking money, man.
A lot more than $45 CD, dude.
Yeah, it was not. It was a lot. I had some Airbud money.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I did have like I had fucking I did have like acting money and shit like that. But it was still like that was a fucking lot. You know, I couldn't just spend whatever. My mom was like, "What the fuck? How much is the guitar you out of your goddamn mind?" Like, all right, fine, like. But I did, it was sucked. It was horrible. It gave me so much grief, and I was just like, God damn it, it sucked. But I loved it so much.
Did you know immediately? It's like the first.
I just couldn't figure it out. I was like, why is it? It was honestly to God, it was before I had the knowledge of like, oh, you don't just buy a guitar and it's good to go.
Yeah.
Like you need to go set it up.
Right.
And like you have to get it set up, and like and there's all sorts of like certain things. I'm sure if I gave it to like. Because then once you find that out, because I'm like, I don't mind tinkering with this for a little bit, but like, there's also people that are like, these are what these people do. They're really good at it, so just pay them the fucking money, and you'll be way happier with your instrument.
Do you think that, like, when you were a kid, did you ever like something is so sought after and you've worked so hard to get this thing and then you find out that it sucks? Do you ever have to like lie to yourself? And, like,
Oh, I did with that guitar.
With that
100%. I was like, oh, no, it's fine. Like all Bridges, like it should do this. Because it's like
I listened to 100 times over and I just don't like it. It's not Black on Both Sides. It sucks.
yeah, you totally, you just convince yourself. No, it's fine.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
If I just do this, you start like fucking with it, like yeah. As long as I just play it like horribly, it'll be fine. Yeah.
No, that's too funny. But I think that that really kind of sums up the it was cool to go down memory lane there a little bit.
Yeah.
But
this is a great record. This
it
is such a
is.
great record.
It really is. There's
And you still have that CD. It was one of the few when we just we're driving around for a week there. We have Johnny has a bunch of CDs now, and about every other one I'd open up the case and the CD wouldn't be there, but this one's still there.
Yes, which is very exciting, and it's one of those things that like
didn't skip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be buried with that son.
That's the other thing I was gonna say. Like 20,000 made, how many are fucked
Yeah,
from
exactly.
scratches?
Yeah.
Right. I would really like to know. There's some like hardcore collectors. There's a book called Lullaby that's written by the same guy that wrote Fight Club. Basically, it's like there's a book that exists where some publisher basically just took like random poems from all around the world or whatever, put it in there for like a children's lullaby book. One of those poems is like an African calling poem, basically, and like what it is you read this to sick or dying, you know what I mean, elderly or kids or whatever, right? And it's kind of they go to sleep and they don't wake up, basically, right? So the sudden infant death, phenomenon or the SIDS is going on or whatever. Basically, what they kind of find out, they chalk up all these children's death to it until somebody figures out that there's this poem in here kills, and it's fantastic. So basically, the idea of the story is that he has to travel around the country and find every copy of this book and get it and destroy it or whatever.
Oh, wow.
And there's also somebody that knows the thing that's kind of using it for evil. Definitely check out the book. It's great.
That reminds me, I just overpaid for a book actually. And just found I paid for that Jacques Cousteau book. It was a used book. It was like $40 from fucking Amazon.
Gotta pull it.
Yeah.
You gotta do
Yeah,
that.
not quite a French scientist, but yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I've spent fucking how much was that velour jumpsuit? Probably like
Worth it, Jackie. That's how much it was.
You gotta wear that shit.
That's
well,
how
it's
much
not
it
the season for
Oh,
it.
totally.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
But that was probably like $100. Yeah.
I love when you
Worth
came
it.
home with it. You're like, I think I'm into jumpsuits now.
It's got like 30 degrees.
As an
on
Italian,
whatever.
I'll rock a tracksuit.
Yeah.
You could be jumpsuit lady.
Hell yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be really cool. That'd be really cool.
But solid ep. I feel like I brought an intense energy to this episode, and the next one, it's not going to be any better.
Buckle up for 2 weeks of Mad Jackie, everybody.
This one will come out way after the next one.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Anyways,
Right on. Much love.
signing off.
Hell yeah.